So hello friends, welcome to 15-minute series. So now we are going to see the changing pattern of India, US and China relations. So basically today we are going to cover one IDSA editorial, okay, so which is mentioning about how the pattern of relations have changed between India, US and China. So if you see this, okay, we have a three dyads, we are dealing it in this way. So you have India China relation, India US relation and China US relation, how it has evolved. Okay, now each country had overall positive and cooperative relation, okay, barring 1962 we and Chinese, we enjoyed somehow comfortable relations after, especially after 90s. Okay, now you need to understand this thing. India's relationship with China, it has recovered, okay, over the years. There was one major event, that is your 1998 nuclear test. So at that time Chinese, they criticized Indians, that Indians carried out the nuclear test, and we said that okay, it's in our interest to protect us. Okay, to protect us from nuclear blackmail, we are carrying out this particular test, and Chinese also had the nuclear weapon. And you need to understand, since then we are building our relationship, okay, we are maintaining peace and tranquility across the border. Before this Galwan incident, there was peace, okay. In 2005 we reached an agreement. The agreement was reached that you are going to resolve your disputes, and the focus was on our bilateral trade, and it expanded after that. Okay, so India China relationship improved after that. On world arenas of governance and different groupings, say BRICS, say Shanghai Cooperation, say WTO, we were cooperating with each other. On matters like climate change, India and China were on same page, we were cooperating with each other. So this was our relationship. Now you need to understand India US relationship, okay, so it also had somehow similar trajectory, that after 1998 nuclear test, US was also angry with us. US was very angry with us, and some sanctions were also imposed on India. But later the relations improved, okay, and economic linkages, they strengthened, especially the IT technology, information technology. So presently if you talk about IT technology, so 65% of IT exports, okay, 65% of IT exports from India is to US. Majorly US is having all the IT support from India. Okay, we are exporting IT services majorly to US. So US is a very important country. Now Indian diaspora, if you talk about, they become very powerful, very active, proactive in United States, and they are playing a very important role. And subsequently, with the improvement of ties, both the countries, they have undergone this defense cooperation framework, okay, in 2005, and we are cooperating with each other. So we have one remarkable agreement, that is the nuclear deal, India US nuclear deal. Okay, that was another remarkable step, another step towards the building of relations. Okay, now you need to understand, in the same time US China relations also began to recover. Okay, there were some controversies like US bombing of Chinese embassy in 1999, and in 2001 there was one incident where the US and Chinese aircraft, they collapsed, they just collapsed. Okay, there was a collision between them. Now these events were important. At that time Chinese were really angry, especially with this bombing of Chinese embassy. 3 people were killed. Okay, so it was by mistake, there was nothing intentional in it, kuch intentional nahi tha, sab by mistake hua tha. And in 2005 China was proclaiming its peaceful rise to great power, and US was also saying that okay, China is rising and they want China to become responsible. This is what US was saying. Okay, so both were enjoying good relations during this time, but after this time things change. Okay, after this time things change. So if you see India China or India US relation or China US relation, so things unraveled thereafter between both China and India. Both were now competing with each other. India and China both were competing with each other, and it was also clear by this time that rise of China is not going to be peaceful. Okay, so there was an element of competition and cooperation. So at this time our relationship with China was competition, okay, that you will compete with each other, and cooperation, both you will cooperate with each other on issues like climate change. So we were enjoying this type of relationship, but Galwan incident has changed the trajectory completely. So whereas over the years, if you see India-US relations, it has witnessed steady progress and it has improved remarkably. Okay, now you need to understand what's the equation now. So first is the alteration in the underlying balance of power between China and India, China and US, caused by China's meteoric rise. Now China is rising, China is world's factory, okay, and investment was going on in China. So this was the situation and the world was literally dependent on China. So presently, if you see the editorials and articles, they will mention that, okay, now we have to diversify our exports and diversify our investment. Okay, we should not rely completely on Chinese. This is the current development which is going on. So in this time, if you see America's decline in both economic and political sphere, now image of America is not that strong. So we are looking for multipolar world. Okay, the world is no more unipolar. America is not the only country which is dominating. There are other countries also which are rising. Okay, so there were events like Great Recession. Okay, 2008 there was a Great Recession and US economy was greatly impacted by it. So domestic and global disruption caused by Trump presidency. Okay, so these are going to play important role. America's image was subsequently damaged by it. Okay, so American image was damaged. Now if you see India-China boundary dispute, it has persisted since the Chinese annexation of Tibet in 1950. Negotiations are going on. Negotiations both before and after 1962 have failed to yield anything. Okay, negotiations have failed. This thing should be known to you. We have tried multiple times, but we have failed to negotiate to settle our borders. Now China, according to one expert, has come to the conclusion that line of actual control, eventually the border has to be consolidated on the ground. Now this is what they have in their mind, and that's why they started moving ahead in April 2020. So they attempted to impose a territorial fate, okay, on India, that okay, we are going to annex this territory from you, you cannot do anything. This is what has happened. So luckily, or you say with our tactical efforts, the disengagement is going on between both countries. Now you need to understand what's the equation now. India and China conflict also extend to their respective status. One issue is border dispute, other is respective status. Both want to dominate. Now you need to understand, India aspire for multipolarity, not just in international system but also in Asia. We want that Asia should be multipolar. There are multiple countries, India, Japan, China, all can exist. China wants to play the dominant role, okay, and India doesn't want to play second fiddle to China, that we are a small brother to China. We are not comfortable with that equation and we are not going to play that relation. Okay, so this is the problem. So China, however, appears committed to denying peer status to India, that they don't treat us equally. Okay, they think that Indians and Chinese, though India and China, they are not equal, and they have in their mind that they have the biggest army and all. Okay, so it continues to block India's membership to nuclear supplier group and remains non-committal on India's permanent membership in United Nations Security Council. Okay, other than that, China is also acutely concerned about its Malacca Dilemma. Now what is this Malacca Dilemma? You should have an idea about this. Okay, this is the Strait of Malacca. So they have this dilemma that if India, this is the Andaman Sea, okay, this is Andaman Nicobar Island and this is the Andaman Sea. So here if we deploy our naval forces, naval aircraft, naval ships, aircraft carriers, okay, so they can block the whole trade of China. This is the Malacca Dilemma that they have in their mind. So they think that India can block this trade route and cause damage to Chinese economy. No, not even the trade route. Okay, you need to understand, they carry their oil supplies from this region, from Middle East, from West Asia to China, the oil supply is from this particular region. So if Indian Navy is active in this particular region, they can literally stop the Chinese oil supply. So they have this dilemma in their mind, that what will we do if India is doing this? Okay, so this is in their mind, and they have that Indian Ocean can be choked. This route can be choke. Okay, this is a choke point. India can stop it. Now, by virtue of the geostrategic location of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, India is in a commanding position to monitor the approach to Malacca Strait. How Chinese are moving, we can monitor it. For its part, India is concerned about China's penetration of both Himalayan security perimeter through close ties with Nepal and maritime security perimeter by gaining lease over Sri Lanka's Hambantota port. Now we also have the concern that the Chinese, with the help of Sri Lankans, can create trouble for us. Okay, Indians are also concerned about the extent to the China-Pak economic corridor. Okay, this is again our concern. You need to understand, this is how this whole design is in line with Chinese strategy of string of pearls, that China is trying to encircle India. This is the string of pearls strategy of Chinese, and we have the concerns for it, that okay, along with Pakistan, they can create trouble for us. Apart from that, if you talk about this China-Pak economic corridor, it violates India's sovereignty because it passes through the territory of Kashmir. Okay, it violates India's sovereignty. Now this again is a trouble for us. Okay, now in case, okay, China and US, the two countries have entered what Professor Graham Allison calls the Tusilidas Trap. Okay, now this is a trap, which means that there is one hegemon power, a dominant power, that is US, and there is a challenger. Okay, a rising challenger. This is the trap which is going on. So US is presently dominating and China is trying to challenge US. So this equation is going on between US and China. So you need to understand, okay, America wants to retain its 75-year-long primacy in East Asia. They want to dominate that particular region when it comes to military or in other arenas. Okay, so China, however, articulated the importance of establishing a new type of great power relation with America, which entails US abandonment of treaty commitments to East Asian allies and withdrawal of military forces stationed or deployed in the region. Now this is what Chinese are trying to do, that US should withdraw their military areas or military establishment in that particular region. So if you see, US has its base in, say, Japan, they have the bases in Philippines. Okay, so they are saying that US should withdraw its military from that particular region. So in addition, the US-China conflict extends to the political ideology. America remains committed to the world composed of democratic states. Now Americans want that across the world you should have only democracies. Why? Which it believes, and would usher in the so-called Canadian peace. Okay, so Canadian peace they want to establish, that okay, democracies should prevail and democracies are more peaceful. This is what they have in their mind. So democracy is, however, anathema to the Chinese Communist Party, because China has a system of one party rule. So this is a anathema to that and is determined to maintain its monopoly. Chinese wants to maintain their monopoly over power in the domestic politics. Okay, so that's why ideologically also both are at different ends, and that creates a trouble. Okay, so in contrast to the return of rivalry in the relationship between US India, China India, and China US, the India-US relationship, okay, has broadened over the time and it has improved and deepened. Our relationship with US has deepened. US is the world's oldest democracy. We are the world's biggest democracy. So it's a win-win that both of us are joining our hands and we have cemented our partnership, okay, and especially against one threat, that is the China. So Chinese, okay, that has led to India-US relation to reach the new heights. So we are reaching the new heights because we want to counter China. So India and US has become resemble a stable marriage. Okay, both of us have a stable marriage. Our interests are aligning. We understand United States, US also has understanding about us. So India and America enjoy amity in their bilateral relationship, but both share adversarial relation with China. Both of them have some reservations about Chinese. So this pattern appears to set to continue into a medium term. Okay, in the near future this pattern is going to exist, that India and US both will have good relations and they will have some issues with Chinese. Okay, so India is stepping up its defense preparedness. Okay, and we know that we have to counter China, so we are working on our defense preparedness. We are moving ahead in that particular direction, and US is helping us in that. Okay, and Biden administration has categorized the China as America's most serious competitor. Okay, and expressed its determination to confront China's economic abuses. Now this is what US is planning, and they want to counter the Chinese aggressiveness and coerciveness in their action. So this is what US is looking for. So India and US definitely, they have to work closely, they have to cooperate with each other. Okay, and we both want there should be freedom of navigation and territorial integrity. So both of us want, India and US both are in favor of having close relationship, and we are moving ahead in that direction. So that's the future for us. Thank you very much.